Hello everyone, Dr. Victoria Skirbo here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center in Wareham, Massachusetts. So today is the 6th of August. It is a Friday here, and well, I guess the 6th of August would be a Friday everywhere. Excuse me. And today we have a square between Uranus and Sun, first quarter, Christ in action. So we can almost count that something unexpected will come up. But I was sitting here thinking about just kind of thinking about what most of us have been going through for the last 4 or 5 years now, and how, you know, we come on to YouTube to try to give some comfort and some perspective in situations, and try to make sense of, you know, what, at least for me, does it mean on the higher levels, you know, and why, perhaps, and then come back down to earth, right? Head in the clouds, feet on the ground. What practical things can we do to mitigate some of the experiences, or to transmute some of the experiences, or to move through with as much grace as possible through these experiences? So I wanted to just, I wanted to pull some cards, and I'm not really sure the question that I really want to ask, but it has to do with, and I think I know the answer, but I want to see what the cards say. Why? And you might say, why what? Why? Why did we have to go through the experience of January 6th? I think that's what I want to ask. What was that about for us as a country, and as a collective, right? A collective. And then also, you know, when you are the quote-unquote most powerful country in the world, what happens to you affects everybody. It's like you're the leader, so what happens to the leader? And it's interesting because the leader of the country is symbolic of the country itself. And so very often we see what's happening to who's getting elected, how they're getting elected, who they are, as a reflection of who we are, right? Who we are as a country. And so for many of us, the last 4 years were quite an eyeful about the country that we are in, and I think the medicine has been harsh, but I think the medicine is necessary. I'm a firm believer that medicine shouldn't taste good. Of course, I never had children, so you probably say, great. I was the kid whom, when my mother said, take this medicine, and I was like, I don't like it. It tastes terrible. She was like, take the medicine. So there was no getting around taking the medicine when the medicine was being handed out. You know, on a certain level, I think when medicine tastes bad, you have more incentive not to take it, right? When everything tastes like grape juice, it's like, oh, it's medicine tastes like grape juice, right? And then, you know, you get older and you're like, oh, I got a pain, let me take this pill. And then everybody gets, you know, everybody doesn't understand why everybody's like so addicted to pills and feeling good and sweet, right? How did I get on this subject? Well, So January 6th, what is January 6th here to teach us? I guess that's what, as Americans, as citizens of the world. Okay. Excuse me a second. First card up, the Devil. In this deck, it's Chronos. This is the Druid Tarot Deck. Druid something Tarot Deck. It is a beautiful deck. But I would like to address this, I'd like to address this card as the card that we're looking at, which is a little different than most devil decks, right? I mean, most decks with the devil. We have these two people. They're in the forest. They look like they've just had coitus, to quote Sheldon. But they're asleep, and there's the horned one behind them, and of course the devil, Satan, right? The word Satan, the word Saturn, the word Santa, all the same stuff, right? Satan, Santa, saint, sinner. Satan was Lucifer, the light bringer, the fallen angel, blah, 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 right? So there's an energy of what is hidden here. And there's also the energy of only being able to go so far. This card is associated with Capricorn. And Capricorn is sort of the rules of the road to a certain extent. And so seeing this as an energy of these are these are the rules of the road. These are the laws. These are how it is. This is the structure of power. And of course, people are asleep to it. People are asleep. People are asleep to how things really work to a certain extent, right? You know, most people are feeding their families and trying to be good citizens and get over a lot of very, you know, difficult emotional stuff. A lot of stuff people are dealing with. It's not just on a good day people are dealing with this stuff. On a good day, people are dealing with making sure they have enough money to cover the mortgage or to pay the rent or to get groceries, whatever. Stay from getting shot. It depends on where you live, right? Stop, you know, prevented from getting molested. If you're a woman, like if you're a woman in Africa going for water and you're in one of these camps, you know, they hang around and look for that woman by herself trying to get water for her family, you know. I mean, it depends on where you are. But I think that this card here also, now everything I've said up to this point has been a little bit, I've been skirting around. I've been looking for a different sort of perspective on this card because in this deck, it's not exactly the same as the other decks, right? It's actually a little bit more like the Thoth deck, right? The Thoth deck has a giant erection. I don't know if you've ever noticed that, but that Devil card is an erection. You know, the lower self, right? Nothing wrong with those, right? Nothing wrong with those. But this is living on planet Earth. This is being part of the planet. And yet it's also a sense that there could be somebody in the background pulling the strings, a devil pulling the strings. So perhaps this card, as the first card, if we want to look at it very specifically, could be the whoever this person or this organization or this energy is. They're there to stop the shift. And it seems to me that the shift from Trump to Biden would have been a shift towards more socialism, you know, possibly at some point Medicare for all, progressive values, helping people, social justice, right? All the things that this person could care less about. It just gets in the way because they have to consider people instead of just what they want. And I think to a certain extent, Trump was a manifestation of that. He is not the person. He is part of the energy of this situation. And so this is the immediate environment, right? This is where it stands. Who's the guy behind the curtain here, right? While we sleep. Let's see what's crossing us. The Strength card. Now this is interesting. This card is interesting because in other decks, there's usually a lion, right? A fierce lion. But I don't know if, and I don't think either one of these particular situations would be amenable. But if I had to face a lion or a boar, I think I would prefer to face the lion. I don't know. Those boars scare me. They're small. They're like get at your knees, or they're enormous and they still get you at your knees. I don't know. Those tusks and I know that boar hunting is very dangerous. So, I mean, lion hunting is dangerous too, but there's something a little bit more like under the brush when it comes to boars. I mean, lions are, I think, generally like out in like more wide open spaces. Whereas this guy is in the forest and you could be right next to him and don't know it. And the next thing you know, you've been bowled over by a boar. So, and I'm not sure why I'm getting into this conversation about a boar, except that there's the fact that this woman can control this beast is something to be said. It's just it's strength and it's strong. And so what is challenging this? Well, Leo, right? The heart, the fierceness. I think at the heart of most people, and most people in the U.S., there's a bravery. It is kind of the home of the free, well, it's not necessarily the home of the free, but it is the land of the brave. It kind of is the land of the brave, because most people come to America out of, like, they don't really want to leave their home, but they come for opportunity, and that's never easy. It's not easy to forge your own path all the time. You know, it takes a lot of certainty that you know what you want and that you're willing to go get it. It takes a lot of bravery. You know, it takes a lot of having to get out of your comfort zone very often. The most successful people will tend to be the ones who get out of their comfort zone the most, pushing the boundaries. So, but as this card sits atop the devil, I feel like what's holding back the devil, or what's crossing the devil, is the heart of America. the true brave and heart of America, of the hope. The hope that for better days. And when Trump came in, everything was so dystopian. And I'm not sure like there was ever hope for better days, which is kind of against the nature, I think, of most Americans, or the feeling, or perhaps the energy of America. The interesting thing about Trump and America numerologically is that the soul of America, the soul vibration, the inner core of America is a 45-9, and it is the 5 of Cups in the tarot. And the 5 of Cups is loss and grief, but it's also the 2 cups that stand behind the person standing by the side of the river of tears. So it's coming out of a place of grief, America. And the South Node in the America's chart is in Aquarius, which is usually a trauma signature, right? A trauma signature. And also a revolutionary signature. So a lot of people who have South Nodes in Aquarius are revolutionary in nature, or they're different in some way, because that's sort of where they're coming from. They're kind of outsiders. There's a real feeling of not fitting in when you have that South Node in Aquarius. And so, you look around and it's like, what planet is this, right? And so there's this energy of deep sorrow. And Donald Trump was our 45th president. And 45, the 45-9 vibration is in Gabura, which is the place of instant karma. It's where adjustments need to be made. And it's associated with the planet Mars, right? So there's a purpose, in a way, to the 45th president. Now, what's interesting is Barack Obama was the 44th president, and 44-8 is the 4 of Cups, divine discontent. There was a little bit of that, I think, with him. And it's like we were really glad that he got in, like, yay, oh, it was such a healing. And then, he was young and he was inexperienced to a certain extent. And so he, he wasn't that aggressive. And I understand that he really couldn't be. He was the first black president. He really couldn't be aggressive. They would have killed him. And it's interesting. There's an asteroid called Damocles, and I know it was and I don't know exactly how it was placed in his chart. Although you can go on astro.com and you could do his chart and choose Damocles as one of the asteroids that you look at. For those of you who know what I'm talking about. If you're interested in the asteroids, there's a guy out of Philadelphia named Alex Miller, I think. And he has a website, and he sends you, whenever something comes up, he'll send you a thing on it, and he goes over all the asteroids. It's fascinating. Alex Miller, that's his name. So if you want to Google him, I would definitely suggest you get on his mailing list, because it's fascinating. So anyway, Damocles, he was born with Damocles like hanging over his head. So he had to be very careful. And of course, he was a black man in power. You have to be, and then of course he had the Republicans, you know, pushing and away, pushing. So 44 is the 44th president is associated with Jupiter. And Jupiter is about optimism. And what was his message? Hope. Right? What was his message? Hope. So now we get to the 46th president and where that's located on the Tree of Life. And that's located in Tiphereth, which is associated with the heart chakra. And it's the Six of Cups. It's nostalgia. Right? It's the man in the Rider-Waite deck, the man watching his two children play, giving each other flowers, like that feeling of we're going to be okay, folks. Six, which is the number of the Sephiroth. It's the sixth Sephiroth. It has all the sixes in it. That's why we have the Six of Cups in it. It is the place of children. It's the place of healing. It's the place of being in your heart and knowing who you are and knowing what your heart is. And I think that is the energy that somebody like Joe Biden brings to the presidency. He gives us a space to heal. That's really what he's doing. He's giving us a space to heal. Is he going to be the progressive firebrand? Never. He never was. He's not gonna be. He get pushed in a more progressive direction? Yeah, he did. Because probably in part because he sees the need. And also, I mean, he is a political animal, really. Not in a negative sense, but just, you know, that's what he's done his whole career. And he knows if that's what the people want, then, you know, he's willing to talk about it and open up to it. That's the nice thing about Joe. He's a little like waxy waney sometimes, and he's done some pretty crappy things. But at least he's making, you know, I feel like he's making some recompense for some of that stuff. But the 46th president, so first, you know, it's the first time we've had a 46th president, right? So these numbers do count. I think, wasn't Lincoln our 16th president? 16 is the tower, right? So it matters. I mean, maybe I should do something on that. That would be kind of cool. I don't know, write something on it or do a video on it. I don't know. I don't know that many presidents. I would just be showing you how little I know about presidents. But so the numbers count. So where are we at? We're at why did January 6th happen? So how many January, February, March, April, May, June, July. So it's been 7 months. Today. It's the 6th today. So we had to see who was pulling the strings. And he pulled a string. And I feel like it's the rich. I don't know which rich, what rich. It could very well be the petrochemical people, the Bushes and stuff like that, or that you know or it could be the oligarchs, and it's still the petrochemical, but it's connected to the oligarchs, so it's not necessarily an American thing. Yeah, because there's a whole thing there with the oil, right? With the oil. And what do people like Bernie Sanders and Nina Turner want to do, right? They want Medicare for all and they want a Green New Deal. The people who make all their money polluting the planet isn't going to be too thrilled about that. But then the planet is saying something too at the same time. So, I mean, being on the same page as the planet politically is great, except that the planet is, earthquakes and fires and tornadoes and hurricanes bigger than ever seen. I mean, it's nuts. It's nuts, people. So the Earth's always going to win. The Earth's always going to win, right? At the root, we have the Queen of Swords. So the Queen of Swords is somebody who has good judgment. But that judgment comes from life experience and much sorrow. So this is a queen that understands what pain is. And so somehow we became America because of tyranny. And what has America become but a tyrant? And Donald Trump was an expression of that tyrant. And there is this thing, what you try to escape from, you become. So, as opposed to understanding it on a deeper level. Being a tyrant, I think, comes from fear. And these people who want to see Donald Trump president again are people who are so fearful. They're fearful of brown people. They're fearful of sex. They're fearful of well, and I say sex because of the evangelical stuff, but that might not even be true, right? I don't know where I was going with that. But the Queen of Swords is wise now because she's had all those experiences. She's been able to understand on a mental level, balance it in her own mind, and be astute. So my feeling is that America has been sleeping for a while, but I don't think America is going to be sleeping anymore. I think America has woken up. And it took a crazy man, a jester, a court jester perhaps, to get us there. So let's see what was in the past. Yeah, discontent, the Four of Cups. This is us. Had everything, but still, like, you go to the grocery store and you want to get tomato sauce, right, for dinner because you don't have time to make your own. There's like 80 brands. It's crazy how many different like brands of tomato sauce are there? How much variety do we have? It doesn't mean we're going to get good tomato sauce. You'd be better off just, making your own, taking the time. We were kind of lulled into this dream of what we thought, and maybe that's what this is, right? The dream of what we thought America was. They were dreaming, oh, America's this, America's that, and then the true toll, the true evil that it took to bring America forward is unearthed. So we were bored watching the Kardashians, more interested in what the Kardashians were doing than what we were doing in our own lives, right? See what was in the sky. The Ten of Pentacles. Maybe this is the promise of wealth because it's in the sky. It's not on the ground. It's not in the future. It's the possibility. This idea, this dream that in America you could become a millionaire, or you do well, you could do, and in many cases compared to where people came from and how they come here, and all the sacrifices they've had to make to be here, and they come and they're successful. My grandfather was an immigrant from Sicily. He had 3 jobs. He had like 11 kids. He was making children and he was feeding them. He didn't have a lazy bone in his body. The whole country's been built by immigrants, really. Immigrants, slave labor, indentured servitude. It's not pretty. But we always had this sort of promise that, anybody could succeed. Now, in the immediate future, we get the 6 of Wands. This is the Commission. This is the Commission. This card is about victory, but at what cost? And I really feel like this is going to be an ultimate victory for the Commission. I think they're going to get down to some pretty tough stuff. And they're going to expose it. Maybe not to the tippy top, but somebody's going to be held responsible. And in that, there's also a little bit of a dark side to that. But I don't know what that is. But it's a good ground level thing. And I think that, I'm not exactly sure how long this commission's supposed to go, but I have to guess that it's probably going to go into next year. Now, you could correct me because I have no idea. But, they have to do subpoenas and then they have to, so it takes time. Everything takes time. But if that's the case, it would be interesting to see if maybe there's some big thing happening right on the Pluto return, the first Pluto return of the United States chart. And that's in February 22nd, 2022. 2202022. Isn't that like a code thing? Oh, that's 1 and 0. Anyway, don't listen to me on that stuff. So we're going to know what happened. So we're going to get most of the truth. How it's seen from the outside, leadership. I think this is the Queen of Wands. I think this is the leadership of Nancy Pelosi. I think she is going to be... I can imagine when Nancy Pelosi was young, she probably looked like this woman, right? Dark hair, intense eyes, right? I'm sure she was a beautiful woman. I have to go look at it. I mean, she's a beautiful woman now, but she's 81 now. So, domestic situation, we have the Prince of Swords. Prince of Swords. So we're going to find out who was involved in this. Somebody else is going to get unmasked in this, and it's a necessary thing. We as Americans have to know who this person is. Now, my first thought was Eric Prince. So we'll see. I don't know. That was my first thought. But I feel like the Prince of Swords in the domestic situation is that there's somebody who's poking and prodding and creating some sort of chaos, but from the shadows. From the shadows. Hopes and fears. Hope. Hope. Healing. 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 Hope. Why? hope. The people who attacked the Capitol had hoped that Donald Trump would be president, would continue to be president. Maybe not all of them. Maybe some of them just wanted to overthrow the government. And so Donald Trump is the best way to do it. Four of Wands, the outcome. So this is celebration. I feel like this, I don't know if it's a hoopah. Oh no, it's not a hoopah, but it looks like a hoopah, right? In fact, in the Rider-Waite deck, it looks like a hoopah. The thing that you get married under in the Jewish religion. It's symbolic of like the four, you know, the tetragrammaton, right? Yod He Vav He. 4 sides, 4 seasons, 1, 2, 3, 4. Structure. This really is about structuring a belief or belief systems or something that has something that we believed in that was worth believing in. Like, we're coming to understand that which we believed in that was worth believing in and what wasn't worth believing in. And we've been through that we've been going through that process since the South Node was in Sag. So the South Node, North Node is at about 9, I think now, 8 or 9. So we're a little more than 2/3 of the way through. This one is 18 months, I think. So 3 into 18. Oh my God, I should not do this. Why am I doing this? Anyway, however many months that is. Do not do math. Oh God, do not do math in a video. So we have a celebration. We have things that are going to be instituted so this can never happen again. That there's going to be things. They're going to put stops so that this can't happen again. I don't know how. The King of Cups, Joe Biden. The other thing, and what made me think of this whole socialist thing, from capitalist to socialist, right? Although I use those words, but those aren't really the words, right? From the me, to the, you know, I am my brother's keeper. I like that better, right? I am my brother's keeper, and my brother is my keeper. And in order to do that, we have to trust each other. We have to trust that we have each other's best interests at heart. And that's hard to do because there's very little trust. And there's very little trust in the government. You know, why are these people storming the Capitol? Because the government doesn't work. Their lives aren't getting better. And they think that black people and brown people are taking their jobs. But they're not. They have it even worse. So, I mean, they have to wake up to the fact that there's somebody pulling the strings here. Ain't no socialists. But when Joe Biden got on the other day and said that, you know, talks about the vaccines and getting all these vaccines and we'll be the healers of the world pretty much, you know, via vaccines, which, you know, I like the idea of being the healer, and if the vaccine is the way in, then the vaccine is the way in. But if the vaccine just becomes another way to drug the whole world, I don't agree with that. But that is a shift. From the hawk to the dove, perhaps. We just have to not use it as a weapon. Weaponizing love and care and concern. I guess you can do it when you try to control people. We have the Princess of Swords here. Princess of Swords. This is, well, it's next to the King of Cups. I feel like there's somebody, you know what I think, that I think the Princess of Swords here is maybe Kamala Harris. Maybe Kamala Harris. She usually comes as the I guess she would be the Princess of Swords. She has a North Node. The Princess of Swords is Gemini. It's the energy of Gemini, and she has her North Node in Gemini, right on her ascendant, actually. Yeah, so I think that's the president and the vice president. And the wheel. The wheel is turning. I almost feel like, and I don't know why I'm saying this, but I almost feel like this had to happen on their watch. There's something about the combination of the two of them that helped to move through this very difficult time, that although we're going to get the truth of things, it's not going to be easy for people. It's very easy to lose faith when things that you believe in are no longer there. You kind of, you know, and you're sort of like, and then you're open to like all kinds of influence because you're kind of like out of your body. So it's not going to be easy when things come out, and they may even like limit the amount of stuff that could come out all at once anyway, to the best of their abilities, to help to sort of maybe redraw the new boundaries. The new boundaries are being redrawn by the princess and the king, which I think is Kamala and Joe, Uncle Joe. So why? Because it was time, and it was time for the test, and now it's time to redraw the rules and have the highest, maybe the highest aspiration is for true wealth for families. Like, America truly is a land of opportunity, but in a way that it's not about just taking or getting taken. I hope so. That's an America I like to live in. When I lived in New Jersey and then went to college in New York, I always had a vague stomach ache in New York. Not so much New Jersey. New Jersey was a different place because that's where I grew up and that's where most of my family was, even though it was the city in New Jersey. So it wasn't like it was lush countryside and hills or anything like that. We had a tree in my grandmother's backyard. One tree. It was a nice one. That was cherry. But when I moved up here to Massachusetts, I felt like there was a lot more heart energy up here. Down in New York, New Jersey, New York more, I think, there's a lot of solar plexus energy. And I didn't like that feeling of being attacked. So I didn't like the energy down there, really. When I go down there, I am with my family, so it's different because I love my family, and I don't feel, I feel the energy of my family. But if I had to stay down there, I don't think I could. But when I came up here to this area, it felt a little more heart oriented. It was a little more heart up here. And, you know, people are decent. People are nice. People care about other people here. Yeah, there's prejudice. Yeah, there's all the crap is here too, right? But, I think people are just, you know, mostly helpful around here. At least that's been my experience, so. I don't know why I talked about that either. Well, I'm going to let you guys go because I have kept you way, way too long. I hope you enjoyed this reading. This was kind of fun. It's kind of fun. I feel more relaxed after the reading because I feel a lot of tension, and I don't think I'm the only person out there feeling the tension. But yeah, this is just us rebuilding. You know, we have to face the shadow. We have to face the soul. And who did we elect? We elected a guy with like 4 planets in Scorpio. The sign associated with the soul. The sign of death and rebirth. Right? So, and in the middle of a Pluto return. Universe has a sense of humor. We don't always get the joke, but it has a sense of humor. All right, guys, I really enjoyed this. I hope you enjoy it too. Much love, everyone. Namaste. I'll see you soon.